And we are live, and I think we did that within 10 seconds of time, unlike last week.
Getting better at this.
Yeah. Anyway, we're live, 3 channels, one including YouTube. Those that are regulars here, thanks for joining us again. Those that are new, thanks for joining us. This is our Paranormal Mondays. It's all designed as a friendly chat between people from all over the UK to come and join us, share their opinions, and basically have a laugh right in the beginning of their week up. Where a lot of us have had a great investigation on a Saturday or Friday or Saturday, and then the Sunday comes, and then we're back to work on Monday. So Monday evening, we're here to hopefully brighten it up a little bit for you. How's that? Right?
It certainly does that.
So we've got we've got Paul at the top. He's host for Ghosts. Julia or Simon, Paradation events. Have a look on the website. Come and join us sometime. And we've got Tim from Northampton, who is of no real fixed affiliation at the minute.
It looks like he lives in a forest. Look, he's got a sofa in a forest.
I live behind that tree over there. There.
I don't know. And Daniel's going to join us as well. Fantastic.
Hey, Daniel.
Hey,
Hi,
guys.
Daniel.
How's things?
Hey, Daniel.
Yeah, we were all alive, mate.
We're
here
alive.
having a laugh. Yeah. I'm sure Luke will be along any minute, and
We're not sure whether he's alive, but we're all right.
I don't think Luke has a voice box.
I don't think he has one.
Well, anyway, Daniel's on. So, what about these big footprints, Daniel, on the south coast?
100%, and say so. It's very number one intriguing to me. When I first looked at it, I went, "Oh, that's very, very interesting." So I've done a bit of digging with Jonathan Downs, and we have found out that there's been monkey reports. So monkeys swinging through trees, which interests me even more. There's actually also been Bigfoot activity down in this same area. So me and Dad have decided that this Saturday we are going to be taking a trip down there to go and have a look at where this site is. And I'll also mention that I took the footprint to an expert, let's say, and what they said was it could have been done by human, but I don't think in this thing the footprint doesn't interest me. It's the history and the reports that interest me. The fact that there's been monkeys swinging through trees, that could open up something completely different to Bigfoot. So if we made a monkey discovery, come on, that's huge. And it would then explain my DNA. It would explain everything that's kind of going on in kind of the UK Bigfoot world. Maybe our UK Bigfoot is monkeys. Who knows? So it's a very, very interesting
Hello, Facebook user.
Very, very interesting kind of topic. I would say the footprint itself, I can't make up my mind with it, because you can look at it and go, it's very weird, but then at the front of it, there are small patterns at the front that could then relate to tread on footprints. So with that footprint, you could tip either way.
Tim Stevens.
Hi, Tim.
Hi, Tim.
Thanks for joining us, mate.
So you could tip either way with it, and I say it's only about 45 minutes down the road, so it's not far from where we are. So it's very, very interesting and intriguing, I would say.
Would you say monkey or would you say gorilla for the size of it?
Well, I would possibly say, Paul, that monkeys have the possibility, or the kind of let's say it has the capability to make that same footprint, because monkeys have fingers, right?
Yeah.
So when they're running on all fours and a double step like a bear, if its back foot come and the palm of its hand comes on on its foot, it could create that 5 kind of toed
Do
print.
they run on their
Yeah.
ankles, monkeys?
I think some do.
Yeah.
I think
I'm not really
I
sure, to
think
be fair.
I think some of them do. It's very kind of, you've got to look at the type of monkeys that will be able to live here in the UK in the winter. There was one escaped monkey up in Scotland that could and does live in really cold environments. So, and it would be able to survive the UK winter, which means if that monkey and you've got a female monkey, you've started a population there. All it takes is one male and one female. That's all it takes. So let's say accidentally, if a few years ago monkeys escaped zoo, that's all you need. That's all you need to start that kind of. And then let's say monkeys stand up and put their hands above their heads. You've then got kind of a tall creature there. So let's say, Paul, for your kind of theory, if it's a gorilla and they kind of put their hands up, it's going to have the illusion of a very, very tall creature,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
what
'Cause they can live about
it's.
50 odd years, can't they?
Yeah.
Monkeys and gorillas and that. So, say if one escaped, say in the 80s, and there were also like, a fair few years ago when it was quite the thing to have an exotic pet, and people did used to have sort of like monkeys and alligators and things like that as little pets. But obviously they get too big, they let them out into the wild. Some perish, some survive. So it could be something like that. And also zoos, if they get an animal that escapes, they probably just think, oh gosh, let's try and keep that away from the media type thing. We're never going to catch it.
And say, let's say, just an example I have is kind of, let's say a monkey escaped from one of the nearby zoos to me, and it went into the forest, and it started a family there. That would create monkey DNA, which means that will then spread. Now, that's possibly where the footprint came from. But what we're saying is that it's a long history of monkey reports down there, and a history of Bigfoot reports down there. On that one footprint, now there was actually multiple footprints. It wasn't explained properly in the story, but there were multiple. Now, I think the witness who Jonathan Downs had spoken to was shocked when he came across it. And do you know what? I would be as well. But I don't think it's just the footprints to this story. I think there's a lot more to this story than just those footprints, because as a lot of people say, the footprints have a way of telling a story. And these footprints, this guy was saying, was going into a forest, which would then make sense. Now, whether this is human or not, it is really interesting for me to then go, right, there's Bigfoot sightings down there, and there's monkey sightings down there. That's a little bit odd. You don't find both of them. So I think when we go down there, we're going to have a look in several different locations to see what we can find. And then
But did they coexist with each other? Why couldn't they coexist with each other?
It's. I think it needs to be kind of. Am I going to word this? Yeah. It's like it. There's a lot to kind of think about when it comes to it, because when I say Bigfoot's in the UK, people think, "Oh my god, you're nuts." When I
Yeah.
say monkeys are in the UK, people are more kind of sane with me. Now, to have monkeys in the UK living and thriving in the UK would make much more sense than an 8-foot tall creature. Now, how I say that, if let's say just for a minute that Bigfoot isn't paranormal and it's a flesh and blood creature, there is no way that that this creature could get through fields to without being seen. No way. But a monkey could. It's fast, and it depending on the size, it could easily hide behind a tree or bush. Or now, I'm not saying that they're purposely hiding, but let's say you're driving down the motorway, you ain't gonna spot a small creature running. You'll just think it's something, but you're gonna spot an 8-foot tall creature, if you know what I mean. Now, that's what makes sense to me, is if this thing can travel and this thing can have a way round, then it makes sense. So what I'm trying to do is go, I from the evidence that we've got at this forest, our forest, we need to then go, right, can it get somewhere? And we've worked out, and there has been a comment in the chat saying apes and monkeys can easily live in cold temperatures. They are the monkeys that live in. There you go. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Can you just pop your name next to the your little messages, because all we can see is Facebook user. So it'd be good to see who's writing, and then we can engage a bit further.
And say yes.
That's true.
Yeah, so that is absolutely right, and it is the Japanese macaque, I think, that was in Scotland. I may be completely off there.
Yeah.
Hey, Luke.
That's the one that they were tracking for days, wasn't it? Trying to catch.
Yeah.
It shows how elusive they can be, doesn't it?
Yeah, and let's say for a minute, Paul, that monkey is out with a few others. You've got yourself a population there.
Yeah.
Now, and all it takes. Go on, Tim.
I say you've got the woolly monkey sanctuary as well down just the other side in Saltash, the other side of Saltash. And we've been down there, you know, the woolly monkey sanctuary, I don't know if you've heard of it. And they're out in the winter in the trees in the reserve there.
And that could look like with all the wool on them.
Yeah, they can adapt to their surroundings, can't they?
And say that could answer. Now, these monkeys have been described as the underfur being green. Now, I'm colorblind, so I have no idea about colors, but I've been told that the underfur is green. Now, something very interesting was about 3-4 weeks ago. We were at the forest and we were by this brook and it was fenced off. Now, I took that as very opportunistic point. Hi, Mark. To go, right, if something is getting into this, it's going to go under the fence. And we found what we thought was green hair. Now, I've sent that off to a lab, so I will wait the results of that. So if that comes back as monkey, we've made another discovery there. Now
they must like shed their hair, and it must be sort of like, you know, maybe caught on barbed wire or caught on fences, or, you know, or caught on trees when they brush past them. So yeah, there's got to be some sort of like fur hanging about, doesn't there?
They probably scratch themselves on trees, didn't they? With an itch.
Yeah, scratch a little back.
And say where when you guys go out to the forest, right, and you go on a paranormal kind of hunt or you go out just in the forest, where are you looking? Are you looking ahead of you, looking down, or something that we all keep forgetting is up? something could be up in the trees and we not see it because we're always looking down for footprints, or so we're not looking up where they could be living. And monkeys are living in the trees, so we're out there looking on the ground for footprints, looking for hair, looking for all that physical evidence when something could easily be in the trees. Now, there's some stuff that you just can't explain with it, but I think with the theory of monkeys being in the UK is a lot more plausible than an 8-foot creature being in the UK.
Could they build like a shelter up in the trees or something? Because in like the winter, you might be able to like see that because there's no leaves in the trees.
Yeah. Now, something that one of my team members found was when they were having a look at the pictures that we got from drones. It was in winter, and there was a lot of bark that was kind of ripped away from the trees as something was jumping through.
We're not talking about squirrels, Tim. We'll film it for squirrels.
Especially secret ones.
I've had them in my loft for about a month.
And it was like something was jumping through the trees. So I'm like, you've got evidence there that you've got to have a look at, and I think sometimes you just need to pull back and go, right, let's look at everything. Let's look at every single thing and go, what could it be? And the theory on monkeys would make sense. I'm not saying it is, I'm saying that it would make sense. So maybe the UK Bigfoot is actually the UK monkey.
There's a good chance, isn't there? You know, this is why sometimes in a paranormal investigation, you know, you go rushing in there looking for the noises, the bangs, the taps. But sometimes you just got to sit there and be patient. Just take a little step back and think, right, you know, we're 100 miles an hour into a ghost hunt, and we all do it. We all want to hear the bang, the slam, the shout, the apparition. You know, everybody wants to see this because, you know what, you see it on TV. It happens within an hour on the TV all the time. You know, every time you watch one, there's always something. But I know myself and like Simon and Darren and, you know, you go and Luke, you know, you go on a paranormal investigation, nothing's guaranteed, but you have to take that little, it's about being patient, isn't it? And just let it do what it's got to do. And it could be the same as like you're saying with the monkey. It could be that you need to take that step back and reevaluate what you've already got and think, well, hang on a minute, this could well be taking us down a different path.
And
have you tried camping in the woods?
Well,
like setting up a camera.
Funnily enough, Simon, I'm not the what, and Darren, you can shush on this, all right? I'm not.
Have you got a tent yet?
That's a no then.
I'm not the most. I don't like camping, to be complete truth, but we have put cameras out. Something that I'm thinking about is doing something on the trees, as in looking up. We are. What?
It's in the name of science. It's all in the name of science. Lifting his leg up. It's all in the name of science, Daniel. So you've got to camp out in the name of science. We camp out in a paranormal investigation. They got one coming up soon where they're there all night.
So I'm having to in about 6-7 weeks, due to other kind of things. I am camping out there with some other team members.
So you're just waiting for the sunshine to come. That's what we're waiting for, isn't it? Not going out in the car.
Well, number one, Paul, I want to make sure that the clocks have gone back first or forward, whichever way.
You'll be late.
And then we'll see. So I'm meant to be out there for 2-3 nights. Yeah, so it's it's something very, very interesting, and we keep finding new stuff. We found a bone pit last Thursday with all sorts of stuff, and it was just amazing. It's jackpot what we found, and say it keeps on rolling in, and it's like a very, very young researcher, about 7 years old or older, found a footprint there, and his mum messaged me straight away going, "We found a footprint in this same location." I'm like, there's so much going on. There's obviously something here. What it is, who knows? I reckon if we put enough work into it and enough resilience and confidence into it, we may get an answer. I can't say we will, because that's the kind of the negative to this job, that you don't always get a job. With you guys in the paranormal as well, you guys don't always get a result. It's not always kind of success. Now, funnily enough, with this forest, we have found something every time. I think that's just by luck, that by every time we have just found something.
Well, you have to remember, though, Daniel, it's about the journey, not the destination.
There you go.
That's what you got to remember. Any investigation, and these guys will tell you, the passion's in the journey, not what you find at the end. You know, because I see it. Every investigation that we go on, I see it as a school day. Every day is a school day, because we don't know everything. And we probably never will to the day we pass over. We'll never know everything, but it's what you learn in your journey up to that end of that destination is where the difference is.
100%. And I think that's why I always go back to the key to this mystery, the key to all the mysteries out there are, or one of the kind of key things is getting our other people involved, getting good. There are so many people out there, and it's been proven by how many people are coming to these events and how many people are kind of being involved in stuff now. Because we've come out there, because we're out there for the truth, we're not out there for publicity, that kind of stuff. We're out there to look for it. People are more interested in us, and we are.
But it's also now it's more acceptable now to be a paranormal investigator, and like yourself, an investigator Bigfoot in these modern days than it was 10, 15 years ago. If you said to someone, and Darren will say that, you're a psychic and you hear dead people, they'll think, nutter, he shouldn't be out. He shouldn't be out. And, Simon will tell you the same thing. People think, really? Oh, okay, But now it seems to be more acceptable. People, you say, well, yeah, I'm a paranormal investigator. I've heard voices. I've seen things and, had things happen. They go, oh, right, yeah, okay. But before they'd be saying, this bloke's a nutter. He is dead people. He talks to dead people.
The more we bring it into the world, the more we say it, the more we keep going, the better it will be. And
that's just the look of you, Tim. That's all.
And the more we say the word Bigfoot, the more we say the word ghost, the more we say all the cryptid names, we keep. It will encourage more people to get involved.
Well, more people will talk out, won't they? Because they know there's somewhere that, like the Monday Night Lives, don't they? People can come on here and talk about anything, is what we say, isn't it? We don't judge anybody, and we don't have, we don't give our opinions. We just talk to each other like a group of lads in a pub. And more people that see that, the more people that suddenly think, do you know what? I did see something on that road. I can talk to them. I can message them. I'll call Simon at Paranation. Maybe they'll know the answer, or Darren, or you know, it gives people more confident to speak out. So the more people to speak out, it's like the other day on the TV, they were saying there's 44% more sightings of UFOs in Britain than there's ever been. Is that because people now are not judged because you say, oh, you've seen a UFO, and they're, oh, yeah, all right, UFO, aliens, all right, yeah. You know, and they used to in them old days. People will tell you how they were treated. But is it now, there's 44% more people of sightings because people now believe or understand or think, actually, this bloke's actually telling the truth, you know what? Because, you know, everybody's suddenly coming out in the open and saying, I think I've seen something. I may have not, but I think, and people don't feel like they're mad anymore. They just know where they can go.
And more people, Paul, are looking. More people are now out going for it, and more people are, and say that's what I like to see. That's what that is the goal. The goal isn't to prove something's real or to prove something, and if that does happen, it's a bonus. Brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the actual goal is to get more people involved in this, because I guarantee if we take this, what we're doing right now, and put it back 50 years, we would be arrested for it.
Yeah.
Guarantee. So it's how we, and there are still loads of people out there that go, we are absolutely nuts for doing this.
Of course,
and I think it's something that we just need to then go, right, okay then, let's get involved. We have so many different areas, and seeing like 10-year-old boys out there from what they've seen from us is incredible. That's what I want. That's incredible. And that's how we are going to eventually get to an answer if we wanted to.
But the more exposure there is of the paranormal, you know, a Bigfoot and all of that, the more people will think, do you know what, I'm actually going to contact them because I'm sure I have seen something. A lot of people, and it's like in the paranormal world, you know, you tell them paranormal investigation, everybody's got a haunting, or if something's happened to everybody you meet. And Simon will tell you, Darren will tell you, you know, they say,
haven't they?
Sorry?
Everyone's got a story about.
They have, yeah, like Tim's put on there, wasn't it? You know, and it's knowing that people have these stories, but they think, well, where do I go? I can't tell anybody because they think I'm mad. But it's not actually that. When they see people coming out like we're doing here and saying, do you know what? You're not actually mad. Come and talk to us because this has happened to us. And it's like your journey with your Bigfoot. You know, the more people that see you, more exposure you get, the more people you'll suddenly find that will start to come forward and start to think, well, I can contact Daniel because he may know. I don't know who else. Oh, I know. I saw something that said, you know, South Coast Ghost or Paranation. I'm sure that's something to do with ghost hunt. What if I give them and I sometimes get messages, you know, people message me, oh, I've seen your website and I'm having a bit of a problem. It's like a lady contacted me the other day. She said she was having a bit of an issue at home. You know, could I, and this is what they think, you know, could I connect with the house and tell her what was wrong? You know, I don't know whether they think you're magicians or, you know, and Darren putting his head down. So he obviously knows, you know, the people that call. And I said to her, you know, I said, do you think I can just switch it on and switch it off just like that? Like she said, well, I think, and I've heard that psychics are open 24 hours a day. I said, well, what do you think we are, Budgeons or, you know, Tesco's? You know, at some stage you've got to shut down. And I said to her, look, I'm at work. I can't really talk. I said, but the water patch in your kitchen is from the boy that died in the well. And she went, how did you know there was water in my kitchen? I said, but that's the boy that died in the well. And she went, how did you know that? I said, but I have to go now. You know, everybody has a story, don't they? Like Simon said, everybody, if you mention it, you know, you could be out somewhere, just a group of friends, and somebody could be overhearing at the bar or, you know, if you're out at wherever having a meal and you say something about a paranormal, people say, are you do you believe in that? And then you get the story. So that exposure brings more and more people out of the woodwork.
And even when we're out at Waverley, you'll get like dog walkers and they'll come over or people just out for a walk and they'll come over and they'll start chatting to you. And you know, we're a lovely group, and you know, that's what I really appreciate about our group, is that we're all all in it together. We're all in it to find something out. And even if you've never been with us before, you might get something that makes us really, really jealous, you know, some sort of like ghost photo or something that we might think, oh my God, I wish that was mine. Like, you know, like Paul's whistling. I saw that and I thought, gosh, you know, I wish I'd caught that. And by chance, I did a little bit later. But yeah, you know, I get messages as well in my inbox, you know, with people saying about bits and pieces, and, you know, what's the best thing to do. And I always say, you know, just try and take loads of photos. Because I'm really into like photos and videos. Try and take loads of photos, or just put your phone on record, and you know, and then play it back and just see, you know, see if there's anything, noises or anything in the background or anything like that. But you know, you never know. You never know. You might be lucky enough and catch something. And I always say, send it across. I'm quite happy to look at the photos. I'm quite happy to listen to EVP and things like that. So, because it's my interest as well. So
it's like the video we caught here at home, wasn't it? You know, it was only just testing an ultraviolet infrared camera, a trap camera. Now, it was only a test, and I just happened to put it in that place. Although we do have a bit to go on here, as you know. But that was just a tester. Just put it there. I said, you know, I'll put it there. She said, how do you know it's in the right place? I said, well, I don't. It's just, that's how it is, isn't it? It's all an experiment. Ghost hunt is all of an experiment. Shall we go to this room? Shall we go up there? Shall we try the table? Shall we try, you know, all of it's an experiment, isn't it? Every time you do an investigation, it's not, you say, right, we're going to go here because I know we're going to get something. You don't know. It's an experiment of where, and it's like the whistling. You know, I went in there and I whistled. I thought, well, I'll see if he can whistle. And I had my voice recorder because, you know, people do laugh at me because I go everywhere with that. You know, I've got my little voice recorder with me and you never know. And I tried it and I said to Julia, oh my God, you're not going to believe what I've just caught in that room. You know, you hear a woman's voice and then a whistle. And then Julia come and found me and said, you're never going to believe what I've just, you know, and things like that. You think, okay, you could have gone in there half an hour after us and got nothing. But it's an experiment, isn't it? It's just an ongoing. The paranormal investigation, I think, is an ongoing experiment. Every time you go out, you're experiencing something different. It's a different, experiment. It's a different way of doing it. You try different things. So every day, every time you go out, it's an experiment, isn't it? And if you do like Simon said, you catch something, then brilliant. You know, sometimes you look at pictures, photos that they do online, and they send you. You think, why couldn't I have got a picture like that? You know,
there's a really good one that Widley. I've taken what I consider a good ghost photo at Widley, but there's somebody else that's taken an even better ghost photo at Widley, and lots of people describe this man, and it's just amazing. You know, we can go to the same place, as Tim said. You go to the same place time and time again. We don't get hundreds of times. Every time is different. People go, oh, what have you got here before? You're like, well, can't guarantee we're going to get it again. But every time's different. Even if you go to the same venue, you know, again and again, you know, we can't predict.
Daniel,
yeah, mate. I'm sorry. I've just got to go and have my tea. I'll be back.
Yeah, come and join us after.
Right. Thanks, guys. Bye.
But it's like you say, every day's a school day, Simon, isn't it? You know.
Yeah, and it's like we just don't know. We can go to the same venue, and then it's just that one time you get something that completely blows you away, and you're like, that is just. I've got lots of things that I'm very proud of catching over the years.
Yeah, and so you should be. You know, right time, right place. But it may be that you suddenly thought, you know what, I'm going to go there and take a picture there. What took you to that room at that time? What made you take a video of the cellar at Wimmering or Widley, wherever it was? You know, what made you go down there to take a picture? Something drawn you down to there to do that and video at that specific time. Although you say you didn't see it until obviously Gemma had seen it, but something drew you down there, didn't it, to do that?
I just say if you go off on your own or in a couple, and if you get to a certain point and you start to think, oh, actually I'm starting to feel a bit scared, no shame in it, starting to feel scared, I just want to turn around and go back, that's the time. Start videoing, start taking photos. Even if you're walking backwards up the tunnel, take a photo looking, behind you.
Yeah,
Because you just never know. And even newbies that come along, they've never done a ghost hunt before. I say take loads of photos. If you want to go in the dark, do tapping, do knocking, whistle, and they come back, oh my God, I caught this, I caught that. And you're like, yeah, you're well done. And then they go away and they're over the moon. They're elated that they've gone on ghost hunt and they've caught some really good stuff.
Yeah, I tend to have my voice recorder and my full spectrum little snap camera that I take pictures with. I take them everywhere. Jen laughs. Where are you going with them? Well, you never know, and you're always looking for that one shot, don't you? But you could take 100 million shots and not get anything.
Even during the day, you still get those things during the day where you think, I feel a bit uneasy walking down here or something. Start taking photos, start videoing.
But you don't need the equipment to tell you that, do you?
No, and you don't need expensive equipment either. People say, ghost hunter, I'm going to get this piece of equipment, that piece of equipment. Now I'm going to save up for that. Sometimes the most basic things get the really good results.
The better results. Yeah. It's like us, isn't it? When we said about, going back to basics, I'm just as bad. I got all the apps and all that sort of equipment, haven't I? The SLS cameras and all of that. But then sometimes your attention's drawn away to what's going on around you because you're so busy faffing around trying to get it to work, or it don't work, or it does, or I've got it working. And people say, well, didn't you see it? Oh no, I was too busy looking. When you go back, you go back to basics. You've got your voice recorder, your K2, and your full spectrum camera, whatever you're carrying, or video like Darren does, and you wander around. You're wandering around, not really sort of taking much notice of what you're videoing. But you could be that you swing round that one time and there's a shadow there, but you don't actually see that. It is, correct, Tim. That's, this is what we say all the time. If you go into a paranormal investigation, your body will tell you whether to run. Something's wrong, something's right. A piece of equipment won't say to you, run. You need to run because something's wrong. Your body will, but your expensive piece of equipment won't say run now, will it? You'll just think, I've got to get out of here, like Simon said when you're in the basement. Gemma wanted to go. You were hanging in there to do, to keep going. But sorry, Tim.
Was that the picture you put on earlier, Simon, this afternoon? Of the photo you put on your Facebook page? Yeah, was that the one? Yeah,
that was a one. But there's another one of Winry Manor. Must be a couple of years ago. Can't remember. But we were in the front room at Winry Manor. There was 3 of us on the glass. We were talking to a lady, and the glass was dancing. We had a little shot glass. It was dancing. And we said, oh, do you like dancing? Yes, answering some questions. Found out that she was killed by a man in the cellar. And apparently she was hidden in the cellar somewhere. So I said, let's go to the cellar. I said to her, if we go down to the cellar now, will we be able to see him and take a photo of him? She said, yeah. So I was like, come on, let's go. I said, okay, we're going to say thank you and leave you here. We're going to go down to the cellar and try and find this person who harmed you. Anyway, 2 of us, me and Gemma, went down to the cellar. I was first with my phone, doing the old recording, going down there. Gemma was behind me. We got to the bottom stairs because I don't like it. I said, it's fine. Let's stuff it down here. There I was panning around, and we're literally just at the bottom of the stairs, just slightly in the cellar, just panning around. She goes, I can't stay down here. There's something down here. I said, you're only saying that because of what we were talking about on the glass with that lady. That's why you sort of think it. And she's like, oh, no, something, I don't like it. And she turned around and she said, oh, don't leave me here. Oh, I'm not staying down here on my own. So went back next day after I sent the video. She said to me, oh, take another look. She goes, take another look. And I did. And ever since I saw what was caught there, this man, I was like, I do struggle to go down in that. I can't go down in my own. Last time I went was with Ian and Stephen, and I went down there with them. And I think we did catch something walk across. But yeah, there's something down there.
Wow.
And that's your sort of your body, your instinct telling you, isn't it?
Mine was saying stay. Gemma's was saying run.
But that's how different. That's how different our bodies are to each other, isn't it? One person's think their body's saying you need to run, and the other person right next to you is saying, no, come on, this is what we're here for. You know, and it is about your body, isn't it? You know, some people listen to their body and run, and if you're brave like Simon and myself and Darren and that, you think, I'm not going to run. I want to see something. I want something to come to me. And like I said last week in the basement, where that thing was in my face, and I could actually feel it in my face. And I thought, I'm not going to run because this is what I've asked for.
That was
the secret location.
One we did over it.
Yeah. I'd like to go back there because I think
but that was something else, wasn't it?
My best bit of the year was when we were doing that glass moving. I think there's me, Dora, and Jen.
Yeah, that was amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah, everyone else was, and I said, look, I've left a space on the glass for you. Come and join us. Come and stand here. Take the glass where you're standing. And Sarah said, oh, he turns all the lights off. And I'm like, yeah, of course he does. Never met Sarah before. Didn't really know much about her. Thought she may be sort of like elaborating on the story of, you know, someone actually turned the lights off. A little bit skeptical when I was down there. And we were doing the glass and I said, go on, where are you standing? Wait, and I've got it all on video. Where are you standing? Take the glass where you're standing. And all the lights went off and the glass went across the table to where you're standing. And I was like, and we're all just like, oh my God.
That was absolutely incredible. Watching that glass go with the laser and then suddenly all the lights went out and the glass moved. You know, it was just unreal, wasn't it? You think, oh, even if you'd only got that all night, you know, that would have been enough, wouldn't it? The way that glass went and the lights went out. And a couple of times, I think it was myself, Darren and Luke, you know, we thought we heard horses at one stage, like a horse somewhere. And then the laser grid with the vaping all over it, the smoke and
the shadow in the laser grid. That was,
it's just unreal, wasn't it?
Darren and myself, we wandered off and we could hear what sounded like conversations in another room. And, you know, we were sort of like, I said, can you hear that? And we thought it was like you lot sort of like chatting away, but it sounded like almost like an office of people just chatting, you know, in their day-to-day work type thing. But that was quite incredible. We heard that a few times. And didn't we have like that open door? Didn't you set up, did you put something by the door, like a movement detector?
Yeah. Yeah, I put my sensor by the door.
Going across the doorway or something.
Yeah. I left the camera going in one and a movement sensor, didn't I? In that type of hall, not hall, but part of the tunnel, you know, as it goes round. And we were on the other side and we could hear it going, couldn't we? Beep, 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 beep. And none of us are there because we were all accounted for because we, you know, the rumor was that if you shut one of the doors, it actually bangs and rattles like someone's trapped inside it. And, you know, the whole location was just immense, wasn't it? It was so alive that night.
Absolutely.
You know, for a last minute investigation where none of us were really ready, were we? You just all piled there, got the things and all piled in and then not really, you know, sussing out the location or anything. We just piled in there. But as soon as it got in there, it just started, didn't it?
I think it was only sort of like a couple of hours before I got a message on Facebook and it's like, you know, can you come down tonight? And I'm like, whoa, can I? Yeah, I think I can. So we didn't have any time to look into it or no time to research it or no time to really do anything about it. We were just literally we just rocked up and we just, you know, went in and I took loads of photos that night.
Yeah.
I don't think I got a ghost photo, but I got a lot of video evidence, some really good video evidence.
I just remember my phone going, it was that young man at the top, Darren, you've got to come down tonight. Don't ask why, don't ask where, make sure you're down here tonight. So I went into work, I was in work, wasn't I? I said, oh, I'm going to go home early because I don't feel very well, not knowing I'm not going to travel all the way to Hampshire. I couldn't miss that one. I was told, don't you dare miss this one. You get down here. But I think Luke G will tell you, you know, we were standing there, we heard like bangs and like what sounded like a horse and
Yeah.
footsteps, wasn't it, Luke? Do you remember we kept looking behind going, what on earth is that
Yeah,
noise?
100%.
There's
100%.
all
Everywhere
sorts of
you go, there's
things.
just noises.
Yeah. And on the video I caught the children singing.
Yeah.
In that, you know, and the video was left on the other side where we were on the opposite side of the play, the location. You know, the video, you could hear the children singing and the movement sensor going off and, you know, and then the shadow in the laser grid and it's just, and the lights going out and the board going and you're just thinking, oh, my God. Yeah, you would want to stay there all night, wouldn't you? Just to see whether it just ramped it full up. Because I'm sure it would have done at some stage.
As
You know,
like I
what
said
we
in the comments, it was when Sarah mentioned about the lights going out, and obviously then the lights went completely out,
yeah,
and then it was the hardwired fire exit signs that just went zoom, gone, and it's like, Jesus, okay, like this is some serious energy, and it was just your motion sensors and stuff. Every single point through the doorsteps in front of the door, everything was just going off, and
it was like that when you and Darren were vaping and it caught that shadow in the laser. Now we were standing there, all of us, none of us saw that shadow there because it didn't affect the lights, did it?
No.
And then it wasn't until I think it might have been yourself or Darren vaped and it suddenly went across. And I'm looking at it thinking, why isn't that smoke moving? Why is it just stopped? And then we all looked, didn't we? Kept blowing more, didn't you? And then suddenly you thought, oh my God, there's someone standing there.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't have seen that unless that. And again, that's like an experiment, isn't it? You just happen to fall across having a laser light and the vape going, and it was just pure luck that it went that way down the laser light, and that's what we saw that night, and the lights going out, and you know the split second the lights go out and the board moves the glass straight to where, you know, where are you standing? And it went there, and even Jen said, I have never seen anything like it. You know, and it was just an absolutely amazing night, really. For what we did for that short period of time, we had some brilliant contact, really good contact. It's like they were waiting for us to get in there to just go, just show you what could happen.
I just feel so privileged that.
Absolutely.
You know, even if I do it once, it's got to be one of my top haunted venues for last year. Absolutely amazing place.
It was like when
ghost photos.
Yeah, and it was like when we were walking down the outside. Luke said to me, "Come and walk around the fence and see what you pick up." And we were walking down the road, weren't we, Luke? And you said, "Oh, there's the bridge, and that's it's in there, and blah blah blah." And I said to him, "I get things like plague, like nurses, or things like that around the footbridge and all of that." And Luke was saying, "Yeah, that's exactly what it would have been in that time." You know, and I thought, oh, this is a really good start. You know, if you don't get anything else, at least I got something right. But having going in there, and you're just completely blown away by the activity. It's like they were waiting for us, wasn't it?
Well, it's the prisoner of war rooms, the medical rooms, the family rooms.
And I said to you, there's a French prisoner in there, and you went, correct. Because you said to me, what do you think in this room? What do you think's happened here? And I knew nothing about it, like you didn't tell me anything. And I said, there's a prisoner in here, isn't there? French, like I get a French person. And you said, yeah, there was French prisoners here. And it's just the most amazing place, you know. And it's the sort of place, like Simon said, you know, it was a very honour and a privilege to be asked to go there and to do that night. You know, it's good company, good team. You know, Sarah was very knowledgeable about the location, you know, and they interacted with her, didn't they?
Oh,
you know, they loved her to death, didn't they? You know, they were so with her. But it was just an amazing and a very honoured and privileged night that I was. When I came back from there, I thought, do you know what? If I don't do any more this year, I'm good with that. You know, I've had the privilege of going in there and being asked to go in there where, you know, nobody's been before, and they never disappointed the whole night. You know, we all come out there buzzing, talking in the car park about it. You know, it's just unreal, just unreal place.
Well, hopefully, fingers crossed. I won't make too many promises, but hopefully we can get in there again soon.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
Yeah,
you know,
me and Karen's still buzzing from last week. She didn't sleep last night thinking about it.
It was just the most amazing place to be, you know, to be asked to go in And it's not often you get asked to go into places that nobody's been really, you know, and it is an honour to be asked. You think, you know what, you know, sod work. I'm on my way down to Hampshire. Work can wait. That'll still be there tomorrow. And like Darren was saying to me, don't you dare miss this one. You got to turn up. You've got to get here. And I thought, well, this has got to be really exciting.
Quite a trek for you. So yeah, it was
it was over
like...
two and a bit hours, wasn't it, for me and Jen?
Wow.
And I rung Jen and said, what are you doing? She said, no, nothing much. I said, get the car ready. I'm on my way home. Why? What's happened? I said, I'll tell you when I get home.
Get in the car. Grab the equipment. In the car. One away.
We run in. She had all the stuff out in the hallway. Just threw it all in the car, and we tore. We had to be there at that certain time, didn't we? But yeah, that was an absolutely brilliant night. Brilliant night.
I feel sorry for Darren though, having to carry my weight with me jumping into him.
It was scary though. I don't often get scared, but when me and you were standing at the back and watching the razor light, and we kept looking at each other, didn't we? Going, what was that?
Yeah.
You know, and you hear what at one stage we thought sounded like horses, and I'm thinking, how can you have horses in a fort? And it would have been to pull the armory around, I suppose, wouldn't it?
I don't know whether I remember the horses. Do I remember the horses?
There was like me and Luke were standing there. It was like just like a horse was coming and stopped, and then I looked at Luke and said, "Did you? What was that? Would you? You know, the motion sensor was going off on the other side, and there was so much going on in that specific area. Bangs and knocks.
Myself and Luke were standing outside, like where we had the urn set up, and we were looking across the circle to the rooms opposite, and I think did the light go on and off or something like that. But,
one of the lights in the family room, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And it turned out when we actually walked around there, that's where she keeps all of her artifacts that she's found in the fort.
Oh, that's right, in the cabinet, in the display cabinet, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, very interesting. That is really interesting.
And those
we just said they're talking.
Sarah lit one of those candles, didn't she?
Yeah.
Which made it very sort of like authentic down there with the candle going, and I don't know, 100 years old or something like that. And she lit one, and we're like, oh, wow, you've lit one of those really ancient candles. But it was amazing, wasn't it? It was like a little flare type thing.
Yeah. She did make me laugh because I went up on the roof and there's sheep up there, and I'm thinking, how's the sheep got up on the roof? Because it's quite narrow stairs. And I thought I must ask Sarah about this because they certainly ain't jumped the moat and climbed up there. So I asked Sarah, and she said, oh yeah, we carry them up on their shoulders, carry them up onto the roof so they keep the grass low.
Well, they've recently dug a hole, but they've actually unearthed a it's like a tunnel sort of thing that goes down into the fort.
Oh, really?
So like she's looking a bit. No, so it goes down into the fort, but don't know where. So
from the roof down.
Yeah, from the roof down. She spoke to me about it the other day.
Isn't there as you walk round?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, so there's 2 spiral staircases. One of them's out of commission because it's too dangerous. And the other one, which is the one that we walked up, which is by the old sawmill.
That's right, yeah.
So we go up there. But then you've got, obviously, the 2 prisons that are up the top, which, obviously, when I think it was you and Darren went into them, wasn't it, Paul?
Yeah. Because Darren said to me, go in there and see what you feel.
Yeah. And that's where kind of like the sheep.
Did you go in there with Darren, or?
We sort of went. One of us went in, and then Darren come out, and then I went in.
Okay.
And we both got the same thing. We came out and said, "There's been a man or so and so that happened in here," which was sort of quite. You know, you think, "Oh my God!" You know, how both of you get it right. But going back to the tunnel from the roof, it could be where they would have took the ammunition up there. It could have been a type of lift or something. They would have lifted the ammunition to the roof of the location. Because they'd have had to have something. You couldn't carry them up the stairs, could you? You imagine how much they would have weighed.
Yeah, 100%.
So maybe that's some sort of, as they unearth it, maybe there's some sort of lift there. They're very early.
It's just where it leads to. That's the only thing.
Yeah. And it makes you wonder whether, you know, it goes deeper than the moat as well.
Yeah, I reckon so, 100%.
I think so. I think there's more underneath.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, they just fill them in, don't they, when they're done with them, and that's it. You know, but I think, you know, as it's like anything, you know, as they dig further, it's like the Ram and places like that. You know, as they unearth things, it comes more and more comes to light, doesn't it? You know, we only see the surface part of it, and when they do dig deeper, and you know, they unearth all these ruins and Roman mosaics, and you know, that's thousands of years under the ground. You know, that's how far up our ground level has come over them past years. But it was a very, very honoured location, you know, and the activity was just second to none, really, wasn't it? And it did what we asked as well, didn't it? You know, like Simon saying, can you turn the lights out? You know, what more could you ask? You know, the knocks, the taps, and, you know, all sorts of things going on that night. And it's like, you know, like we were saying earlier, you know, every investigation is like an experiment, isn't it? In that one, we was never set up to do that night. We just grabbed what we could and went there with what we had, and it worked, didn't it?
Yeah,
Just
it
we went along, and
we didn't need fancy machines, did we? I don't think we run any apps or anything like that, did we? We just run movement sensors and cat balls, and
I think I done my SLS at one point, but that was literally about 2 minutes.
Yeah. But they certainly know Sarah.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
There's the one guy there that protects her and looks after her and won't let anything.
Lionel. Is it Lionel?
I think that rings a bell.
Lionel, yeah.
That rings a bell.
I think I've actually got her.
I remember my ghosts.
That's worrying, Julia. That's worrying. Very worrying, that is. Can't remember anybody living, but dead I can remember every one of them.
It's when you start having a conversation about someone. I said, "Oh yeah, well, we went to this location, and yeah, we talked to Lionel, and he said this about da da da," and they look at you and you're like, "Oh, sorry, he's a ghost," and they're like. Right.
They start like, "Oh, was that your tour guide?" No, that was a ghost.
This lady, and yeah, she loved dancing and that, and you know, she did this, and you know, and she said this. There's also an angry nun at Wimmering, but I haven't managed to get her back again. An old angry nun.
It was like the night in the Lamb, you know, when we were upstairs with Dora, Jen, myself, and a few other people up there, and when that apparition of that shadow appeared in the room, and all chaos broke loose in that room. That, you know, and Jen always says, "Well, how come I never saw anything? I don't see anything." And I said to her, one day you're going to be really caught out by this. And then sure enough, in the Lamb, in that room upstairs where it all kicked off, where we saw that person in the mirror, you know, and even she was screaming. Dora was trying to climb across the bed. The other two ladies were running around the room trying to get out. And I was trying to get out of the bathroom and couldn't get up because something was pushing on my shoulder. It was just total chaos, like it does. When something happens, it's just chaos, isn't it? You know, and you think, calm down, calm down, calm down. But that, you know.
My friends Emma and Tracy were
that's right.
Skyrim, weren't they?
Oh my God, that was creepy. I have never seen any. You know, they were doing mirror scrying in the room upstairs, and like Julia said, they're really good at it. You know, they're just flawless when they do it. And she's like, "Can you come into the room? Can you take over me?" And blah blah blah. And we're looking at the mirror, and I'm thinking, her face is changing. Looking in the mirror, although she just kept dead still. And I thought I could start to see sideburns coming and a moustache, and I'm thinking, really? You know, when you sort of look at something.
I saw Emma's eyes because Emma was the one sitting down, and I saw her eyes. She seemed to just like look, and her eyes were completely white. And I was like, you know, I've never seen that before. I was like, they're just like completely white. Her eyes, she just like looked, and I thought, oh my God. And also, when we were there, I think there were some people upstairs looking down the staircase from the bedroom. And they said they saw a man in a suit, like a dark blue.
I think Darren kept saying there must be somebody down there. There must be. I saw someone there because he asked me. He said, "Are you downstairs?" I went, "No, I was in the other room with Jen, Dora, and someone else."
Yeah.
He said, "I've just seen somebody in the bottom of the stairs." and the door was open, like the door had opened, looked upstairs and whatever. I mean, Darren could explain that better. But, you know, I've never seen people scry where you say, can you look around the room? And their face is straight, but their eyes were scanning around the room, looking at you.
Yeah.
It's the most creepiest thing I'd ever seen, honestly. And I looked at Jen and Dora and Julia's and Simon's, a couple of other friends. We all went, oh my God. And her eyes, although her head was fixed, looking, but her eyes looked at each and every one of us. That was the most creepiest thing I'd ever seen. Oh my God. You know, and you see me crying.
We saw him a few years ago, and I said to Neil, I said, he's got a bit of a cheek, hasn't he, that guy? You know, coming in through the back door, using the toilets and then going out again. And we just sort of we just brushed it off. And then when Darren and I think Stephen and Ian were up there and they saw this same guy, and they said he just sort of seemed to look up the stairs. And I said, is he sort of going around the toilet area? And I said, I've seen him before. But, you know, at sort of 11:30 at night, when it's a quiet high street, there's no real pubs open or anything. Why was someone coming through the back door and go to where the now toilets are? You know, was he coming into it? He had a suit on back then as well. So, it's
I mean, Darren could explain it better because he actually saw it, and he said to me, you know, was that you downstairs? I went, no, I was in the front of the building with Dora and Jen and a couple of other people doing some EVPs where we got the lady's voice. And I said, why? He said, I think this is right, isn't it, Darren? You saw the door open and someone look up the stairs. Is that right?
The door was open, and I saw the guy walk to the bottom of the door, and he stood there and he listened and he looked up and he looked around like that. He shook his head, stepped back, and closed the door. Plain as day. I mean, it was full body apparition.
He's done that before. But he's gone into the toilets first and then come out.
Yeah. What did the toilets used to be?
Sorry?
What did the toilets used to be?
No idea. No idea.
Don't know. Maybe a storeroom. Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe the toilets.
But it could have been something to do with horses, or it could be anything, couldn't it? Being a pub, it could have had stables out the back. And
wasn't the where they've got the new hotel bit? Didn't that used to be where the stables used to be?
That's what I wondered, you know, whether you know, that was stables, and he could have walked across because that would have been the back door into the pub, maybe, or into what would have been the local hub of everything, isn't it? The pub is always the centre.
And I thought, that's a bit cheeky coming in and using the toilet when we've got an event here, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And then he sort of looked upstairs, and then he just and we're like, what are you doing, you know? We don't like to
How dare you?
People, do you?
You bought a ticket, if not, get out.
He's getting a bit of a look, but it's like, you know.
And then, you know, to go back a few years later, and then Darren sees the same thing. You know, how do you debunk that? Because nobody was there. Everybody was accounted for.
I think Gemma's got a picture of him as well.
Has she?
Well, she's got a picture of the bottom of him anyway.
Right. But just, you know, again, you know, that was full active upstairs when we had that shadow come in and the mirror scrying. You know, if anything creeped me out, and I don't easily get creeped out, was that mirror scrying where her eyes looked at each and every one of us. And you could actually see what looked like sideburns coming and the moustache. And she was so good at it. It's unreal. And you looked at it, and she didn't panic because she knew. She said, my face is now changing. And you look in the mirror and you think, hang on a minute, it is as well. And you could see what looked like these sideburns coming and like a moustache. And then the eyes looked around each and every one of you, even though her head was straight, but the eyes looked at each and every one of you in the room.
I've known Tracy for about 20 years, so you know, and they're good, you know, they're good,
brilliant,
decent people, and they're really good at skyring. That's all they seem to do, and they're really good at it.
Very, very good. They're brilliant. You know, they both took it in turns, and both had an overcast or an overshadow come in, and you think, how can that be? You know, and they, because I did ask her, I said, did you realise your face was changing? She said sometimes they can sort of see it, but it doesn't always register because they're looking beyond that shadow, beyond their face. They're looking beyond, which makes sense, because it's always nice you get someone that's good like that to ask them, what do you actually see? What it's like a human pendulum, isn't it? Yeah, like human pendulum. You say to people, what did you feel? How did it feel being moved about? Because I'm always sort of I'm inquisitive. I always want to know, how did it feel? Did it feel like someone was standing with you, or and that's why I said to her, can you actually see your face in the mirror? She said, no, not really, because you see beyond your face.
Because we've even tried to film it or take photos, and you just can't.
Yeah,
but when she was doing it, I took loads of photos when she was doing it, and there's like lots of photos of Emma in the mirror, and then there's a blank one. Then there's lots of photos, then there's a blank one. But I'll just go. So there couldn't have been a blank one.
No, because they're taking split second after each other, aren't they?
Yeah, there could be a blank one in there.
But that was so interesting watching. When people like they've done it so many years, it's like Simon with the dowsing rods. When somebody gets so connected with them, and you watch them, it's so impressive, isn't it? When you go to Waverley and you get a cross right on the ley line, and you think, how can this be? And like mirror scribe, how can you see somebody's face in a mirror? How can their eyes look around the room, but their face is still looking? How could you try and explain it, don't you, or debunk it, but you can't. You've got to see it to believe it. And I've seen a lot of mirror scribe, but that was another level. Them two ladies, unbelievable. If you ever get a chance, Tim, to see it, and they're there, go and watch them, because that is another level of mirror scribe.
Really good.
Yeah, absolutely. They
Did you
just
say that was in the pub?
It was in was it called the Lamb or something?
Yeah, the Lamb.
Yeah.
And I was doing when I was doing the welcome talk, I couldn't stop giggling, and I was just like, I was trying to do this welcome talk, and everything I picked up in my hand to show people, like part of the equipment, I picked it up, and it's like someone just like took it out of my hand and threw it on the floor, and I couldn't. I just couldn't stop giggling, and I was going through all my equipment. And everything I picked up, I kept on dropping it on the floor. And people going, oh, God, Julie, you're dropping everything. And I'm like, no, I'm not dropping everything. It's just like putting it out of my hand and just chucking it on the floor in front of me. And I couldn't hold anything. It was just a really amazing night, a really good night. Loved it.
It was like the police cell with Luke S. When he started to laugh uncontrollably. And that's not like Luke to start laughing. And I literally was. When you laugh and then you really, really hard laugh, and I've never seen Luke laugh, and he was just uncontrollably laughing. I said to him, Luke, are you all right? All this funny stuff. He couldn't stop laughing. I'm thinking, hang on a minute, this is not like Luke at all, is it? You're a bit of a laugh, but that was laughing uncontrollably, like someone had actually stepped into him and took over. Like someone was there going, look at you lot with all this equipment. This is not going to work. And he was like that, wasn't it, Luke? It was just.
It was, yeah.
Kept saying to him, Luke, are you all right? Luke, are you all right? You sure? He's just like, and then it was like, what? What's up? What are you laughing at? What was I laughing? And and you like Simon said, you think to yourself, oh my God, what's happened? How can that be? It can come into someone, do that, and like you say, when you're trying to show people things and it's taken out of your hand, you think, oh, Julie's on a clumsy night tonight. But no, hang on a minute, it's not.
It was literally just taking everything out of my hand and just throwing it in front of me on the floor. And I'm like, God, it's cost me a lot of money, that did.
And there you are throwing it on the floor, you cheeky sod. But no, we've had some. I think because it's such a good group with a good energy, we do really get some good contact when we're out and about, don't we? There's so many people with different abilities within that group that it just I don't know I don't know how to put it. It's like so many people with different abilities. It just suddenly comes together, doesn't it? I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, to be honest. But it just suddenly.
We missed down on the last one, didn't we? We really missed you then.
Yes, yeah, of course, yeah.
And we hope to rerun that again
We didn't miss his jokes, though. We didn't miss his jokes.
Well, I still think Darren's better at doing the pendulum. We did try, Darren. We did
all right.
You did it.
You did all right. Yeah, you did well.
You do it. You just seem to like. I don't know. Did we calm people down? Did we make them relaxed? I don't know.
But you did well. It went well. The pendulum. There was people in that circle wanted to ask the question, wasn't there? And we both said, didn't we? And you even said out loud, didn't you, Simon? Ask the question. Someone here is thinking of a question. You just need to ask it. But whoever it was would not.
Because Paula was just going, and I said, someone's thinking
a
question. Can you just say the question out loud? Because whoever's obviously a very strong person was thinking this question, and the pendulum was just going. But I've never been a pendulum. I think if I was a pendulum on the night, people would say, "Oh, it's fixed." She's like,
yeah.
So I've never ever been a pendulum. So I don't know what it feels like to be a pendulum.
And that's what that's why I asked that lady, what did it feel like? What does it feel like to be moved about like it was? Because like you say, if you go in a circle, people say, "Oh yeah, it's part of Paranormal, host for ghosts or whatever." He could be putting that on himself. And it's difficult, isn't it? And it's like, go on a Ouija board, isn't it? Sometimes you've got to stay back off that board.
Yeah, you've got to take your finger off and move it
because
back.
you could be influencing it. People say, well, that could be them doing that. But if they're doing it and you're away from the board, you're not there. You can't influence it because you're not on the board. And I always find you get it started for them because some people don't really want to ask and you sort of take over. And then as soon as it starts to go, I tend to put my hands up. It's all down to you lot now. You've got to ask the questions and keep the energy going. And then they can't say, oh, well, you had your hand on the planchette or whatever. It was you that was moving it. And we all know when it worked. Yeah.
Really good group.
Yes. Yeah, they were all up for it, weren't they? It was a very, very, they're very good group of people. They were all buzzing for the thing and it worked well, didn't it? We did miss the big man. We did miss his jokes
very much.
But it was a lot easier to get the EVPs though, wasn't it?
Well, everybody keep quiet and then restarting, yeah.
Going back to what you were saying about the human pendulums, is at the Titchfield Hotel when we done that, and that was my first ever time of actually taking part in one.
Yes.
And how did it feel?
I'm thinking back. It's quite hard for an old person.
It felt very weird.
Listen to the old.
Oh yes.
No, just you've got no control over what you're doing. It wasn't until Simon said to me that Luke, you're swaying, you're all right. It's kind of like, am I? And then I was
standing sort of like just off behind you, and I could see, you sort of like try and observe to see who's swaying to try and make them be the pendulum, and you were swaying. It was another lady around the corner; she was swaying, but yeah. But I've never been a pendulum. But they do say you sort of like feel you've got no control over.
You don't. It kind of feels
in circles.
The only way to describe it is when you've gone out for a night out, but you're not quite at that point of being drunk, but you're not quite at that point of being sober, and you can kind of feel everything a bit like, oh, okay, the world's spinning a bit. Yeah. Do
you feel physically drained after it? Do you feel quite drained?
Without doubt.
Right.
Yeah.
See, that's what I get inquisitive about, because I want to know how people feel. What happens to them, and do you get so you physically feel drained? Do you?
Yeah, I came out after that, and I went and sat down at the table, and I think it was.
Nigel?
I think it was Sarah and you, Simon, that I said to that I just wanted to go grab a coffee and just sit down and chill for a minute, because I just felt so knackered, because you kind of feel as if somebody's telling you something but not telling you something, and you kind of know what's going on, but you feel disassociated with the room.
Almost
it's
like you're in
very,
like
very
a
strange.
semi-trance type state.
Yeah, yeah. And when your eyes are shut and you're just going, it's the weirdest feeling.
But do you know
I
when you
can't-
got your eyes shut and you're in the middle of the pendulum? Can you visualize anything? Do you see anything like a person, or do you see a
I
color?
visualised about a lady.
That's what you could see, was it?
Yeah, yeah. It wasn't physically like the, like a face and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
It was just for me. I get more feelings anyway, but it was the feeling of a lady and like sadness and just something had happened, and it just wasn't very. It wasn't nice, but it wasn't awful. If that makes sense.
This is what intrigues me. What people see, and do you see a color? Do you see someone standing there? Do you get that feeling of dread, or something terrible's happened to this person? And that's what really sort of intrigues me about it. Really, to find out. I ask these people after, what was it like? How did it feel? And they must think I'm mad when I ask, but that just sort of intrigues me to what, because I can't do it, because obviously being part of a group and whatever, you it's a shame really, but you have to stay out of that part of it and let people experience it themselves, because that's being true and honor. You're honoring it, aren't you? Because you're saying, well, I could stand, oh, it must be me, doing all this, and people around the circle might think, well,
Is he putting it on, kind of thing?
Yeah.
People do anyway, don't they? Not everybody believes what we do 100% of the time, but if we were out to fake it, we'd make some really good things happen.
Yeah. And as humans, we tend to sort of waver when we're standing still anyway, don't we? We sort of sway a little bit as humans. That's just the way we are. It's your balance side of the body doing it. But it just intrigues me what you feel, and if you saw, and how it felt, because I think the lady that did it at the police, she said she felt very cold. She's got that really,
very cold, very cold.
And is that because spirit was holding her hands while they were doing the, pulling her backwards and forwards? That sort of thing intrigues me, to find out different people's different experiences, and it sounds like two different pendulums and two different experiences, doesn't it?
See, at Titchfield, it did feel a couple of times as if like I had been shoved, physically like shoved.
Right.
I think a couple of times I fell back into Darren, and one of the times I nearly took out Simon.
Right.
It was just felt so forceful.
Simon is only little.
Simon is only little, yeah. So it was a bit. It's a weird feeling. You'll have to experience it one day.
I'd like to try.
Maybe we do a private one, and after we've done the proper pendulum with everybody, maybe we could go off and do like a private pendulum for ourselves. And
Would you be interested in that, Simon?
Sorry?
Would you do it?
Yes, I'd do it. I'm my friend. Yeah, I'd do it. Most things anyway.
Yeah.
I'd give it a go.
It would just be interesting, wouldn't it, to be the other side of that circle and get that feeling, and and try and visualize something. That's what intrigues me. What do you see? Is it a color? Is it a person? Is it a shape? Is it what actually happens? Because you must go into that full relaxed state, mustn't you?
You go relaxed, really relaxed, yeah. But what I was going to say is, how about the next time we go to the secret location?
Yeah,
wow,
sure.
Yeah. I think that'll be something else there.
I'll cancel it and go to the secret location, because that was just amazing. It's got to be one of my top events last year, because that
Absolutely.
was, I can't get over it. I'm still raving about it to people. But obviously I can't say where it is, but it was a great
I've still got the footage of the children singing, and the motion sensors going off, and I can't bring myself to delete it. Because it's just
upload it somewhere. Have you uploaded it anywhere? Or
I think I've got it on my hard drive. I've got 2 terabyte hard drive, external hard drive, and all the stuff I want to keep, I put it on the hard drive, and then I can delete all the cards off. And I think Darren told me to do this anyway. Put it on a hard drive and then keep it separate. So you've always got that chance to if you deleted the wrong thing, you think, oh bugger, and you could go back and take it off your hard drive and reload it. And I
Also-
put a lot of my voice messages and voice EVPs on there. Or it's about, I think Darren told me to do it. It's like a 2 terabyte external hard drive, and that's what I do now when I get good footage, because it could be the same as if you did a conference. You know, you could put all these footages and all these voices and all that onto a PowerPoint, and you could do a presentation. I did a presentation at the RAF museum up here. You know, it takes you a long time, and you know how long it takes to put a PowerPoint together, but I can put the external hard drive and pull off the frames and make a PowerPoint out of it. So I always keep the good stuff. So I'm hoping, I think I did download it to it, but I will have it on an SD card. If not, it will be on the hard drive or on the SD card.
Talking about the video footage and stuff, though, from that night, Darren, did you ever actually get a chance to look through yours?
I never got a chance to look through mine, mate. I've got that much to look through at the minute with recent events. I just haven't had a chance.
Well, if ever you need to send anything over, mate.
Okay.
I'm more than. It's not as if I'm up on my feet at the moment, is it?
That's very true. That's very true.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But
we'll just share it out. We're all happy to have a little look, and
if
there's anything. Sometimes a second pair of eyes is quite good, isn't it?
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
You know, when if you think you're taking a half an hour, 20-minute video, you know, like I did at the police cell, when I had looked at it the other night, it was like an hour and 55 minutes the camera was running. I'm thinking, oh my God, an hour and 55 minutes. Yeah. And you're going slow and down, like, you know, you play it in slow motion. That hour and 55 minutes, like 6 hours, isn't it? Of viewing time, you know, and you're thinking, oh, maybe I should have gone back and turned it off after 50 minutes.
But you get into that warped kind of like loss of time, though, don't you?
I think you do lose time when you're in a location. You lose that time for some reason.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my God, it's 20 to 12, and I haven't moved out of the courtroom. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I've got to go around the rest. I've only got like a little bit of time. I've got to go around the rest of the museum. You know,
it does seem to fly, doesn't it?
Yes.
Any location we go, you know, 1 minute you're there at 7, the next minute it's midnight. You think, well, where's them? 4 or 5 hours gone out? What, what's happened here? I've only done half of it, or I've done a bit of it, or none of it, or and I don't know what happens to the time, to be honest.
It just flies, I think, because you're so interested and intrigued in what you're doing. Like, even if you just do a board session, you're like, oh gosh, that must have only been about 10, 15 minutes. You're like, oh my God, it's an hour. Like, really?
Well, again, I'm taking it back to the Titchfield Hotel one, but when we were in there, and we were all upstairs in the room, and I think we were doing the drawing planchette, and I think we were in that room
there as well, and Angela.
Yeah, but we were in that room for about hour and a half, 2 hours. Didn't even know where it went.
That room upstairs, me and Luke had a bit of a strange thing in that room, didn't we, Luke?
Yeah,
when Julia and Ryan came in.
Yeah.
That was really creepy, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
And I don't know, we were sitting there asking out, weren't we, in that room where the TV in it was? And we said, can you open the door, shut the door, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And we thought we heard the door bang, and then we saw a shadow go past the door, didn't we?
That's right upstairs in the attic.
That's right. And we saw shadows going past the door. So we opened the door and had a look, and there was obviously nobody there. So we sat down and asked again, and it suddenly went quiet. And then the door opened, and you and Ryan were standing there. You'd come in.
Yes.
But it's like you'd frozen in time, because we said, oh, was you outside? And you didn't say anything. You just stood there for how many seconds, Luke? You reckon 5 seconds?
Yeah, about that, 5 seconds, yeah.
And you just stood, both of you, and turned your heads really slowly and looked at us and then went, oh, no, we've just come up. And I looked at Luke and went, what? And it literally was like, I don't know what happened to you, Simon. You just stood, it's like you'd stopped in time, a pair of you. You just didn't respond to what we said. And we said it 2 or 3 times, didn't we? Have you just come up?
Yeah.
Have you just come up? And your head turned so slowly and looked at us and then looked back. And Ryan was the same thing. And then suddenly you went, oh, no, we just come up. And I went to Luke, what was that? So I'm not sure what happened at that time.
Sort of like open the door and saying, "Oh no, we just come up."
But there was a delay of like 5 or 6 seconds before you said anything. You were dead on the spot.
Yeah.
You stopped on that spot and never said anything.
Quite that long.
But to you, you just came in and it literally was, I reckon, probably 5 seconds. You just stood there, wasn't it? Motionless, like you just stopped in your tracks.
It was, yeah.
Wasn't it, Luke? And we both looked at each other and went, what? You know, it's Julia, isn't it? And then suddenly you went, oh, no, we've just come up. We're thinking, well, so what's going on there then? How come they just didn't answer? You know, you have these things happen. And to you, it might have been a split second. To us, it was probably 5 seconds. It wasn't no more.
Yeah.
It was just, you both were motionless, which was the strangest thing. Because normally you walk into a room, you're wandering through the room or sit down, but you and Ryan both stopped at exactly the same time, but remained motionless for about 5 seconds. And then you answered us. You went, no, we just come up. Like nothing had happened. I looked at Luke and went,
is that the
what
attic
was?
room?
Yeah.
Is that the one which set the laser grid up on my laser pen, and then within
Yeah.
2 seconds, fresh battery was dead?
That's it. Killed it off, didn't it?
Yeah.
But we had Luke's motion sensor in there, didn't we, Luke? What else did we have set up in there?
You had the recorder on the table, the cat balls.
That's it, cat balls. But they were going, weren't they? And the K2, was the K2 going? No, the REM pod.
REM pod, yeah.
The REM pod was going, wasn't it?
Yeah.
In that room. But, you know, it was the most intriguing room up there, to be honest. It was an interesting room. But it was just...
I still want to know what's on the other side of that wall.
Yeah. There's something there, isn't there?
Yeah.
They've got something off, haven't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I wonder what... And that's the room where they say they have a lot of activity, don't they? That's what she said. Always lots go on in this room.
Probably because something's blocked off, isn't it? There's something.
I wonder, like a portal or something bad's happened in that room, and whatever it is behind that wall.
Something's buried in the wall or something.
Well,
could be.
You know,
well, just the fact that you've got that other room sort of sized bricked off area that you can see out the window, and then the place where the hinges would be on the in the wall. Just doesn't make sense. There's definitely another room behind there.
There's something in that wall.
Yeah.
Whether it's a hidden cavern or a hidden room or something, there's something. I don't know. It's a bit sinister behind there. I think if you opened it up, you could probably stir up an awful lot of trouble. I think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The wall doesn't look right though. Even when you look at the wall, it just didn't look right.
No,
it looked all off centre, didn't it, and everything, and just didn't look right to the rest of the room.
Yeah, and it was like the hotel, you know, Titchfield with SC, you know, South Coast Coast, and I think it was Sarah that laid in the downstairs in the meeting room with the little robot, you know, my Robbie robot.
Yeah, and
she had that going all over the place, all over the room, and that only moves when people move or it's interactive. You know, I came down and said, Sarah, you all right? Because she was laying on the floor. I said, yeah, okay. She said, yeah, watch this. And she called it, can you bring the robot over? And it bloody came over to her. And I'm like, oh my God. And she said, can you go the other? And it turned and went the other. I said, how long is it? Oh, she said, I've been down here hours playing with this. So I loved it. But she was like, I thought, well, what's she laying on the floor for?
Do you think he'd be good at Midley?
Could do. I could bring it, charge it.
Yeah, maybe
I'll
not.
bring it with me.
Because it's a bit lumpy, the floor. But I know in the upper levels, especially if you go down to the end of the tunnels, the upper levels are a lot smoother at the end of the tunnels. They're more sort of like wood. So that might be quite good.
Yeah, I'll bring it and we'll put it down there.
Hi, Paula.
Hi, Paula.
Hi, Paula.
Pendulum.
Yeah, what I'll do is I'll charge it, bring some spare batteries for it, and then by all means, you could take it and put it wherever you like.
Yeah.
As long as we get it back at the end of the evening, it's quite a tool when it works. Because you think, you know, and it's all gesture controlled, so you have to gesture it to come to you or go away. And if you go near it, you know, it goes and it starts to back off. So you know and you're standing still and it's backing off. you think, well, what's in front of me that's in front of the robot? What's the robot actually seeing? And then it spins round, goes, oh, and then it'll go forward. And Sarah will tell you, she said to me she'd been down there about an hour laying on the floor with this robot going around that room. You know, it did work well, that robot, that night.
Maybe put a camera on it as well, and maybe an SLS camera as well.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Match out. Yeah.
If it stops, and, turns round.
Yeah.
If we can put any figure on it or something.
Could well be, yeah.
Video everything.
Well, this is it, isn't it? You've got to throw videos everywhere you can, isn't it? Like lock-offs, like we had in the police station, like Darren's got loads of cameras, and just dot them around everywhere and just leave them running with lights, because I'm sure at some stage one of them's going to pick something up, even if you're not there. Because activity happens, not even when you're not there, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You leave a room and there's a bang, a tap, a voice. Did anybody hear that?
Daniel's going to go, guys.
Okay, see you later, Daniel.
All right, guys. Thanks, guys. Bye.
I'm going to be exactly the same guy, so I'll catch you later.
Okay. Nice to see you, Luke. Take care, bud.
Bye.
Bye.
Darren, do you want to call the live now at 1.5 hours?
Yeah, I would say that's sort of like we've done the half-hour extra as normal, but it's all fun, guys.
It's interesting, though, isn't it? It's interesting.
Night, Paula.
Night, Paula.
Live tonight.
Night, Paula.
I'm sorry, I forgot to send him the link. I will next week. Just overthinking and my eyes ain't that good, short. So it's
but there's no rush, mate. No rush.
But
it's not going to go anywhere.
Anyway, everybody that's watched this, I hope you've enjoyed it. Sorry about the Facebook pages going down. I've no idea why Facebook decided to stop streaming on them. But the last sort of 25-30 minutes we've just been on YouTube only. We've had quite a few visitors, quite a few views. Thanks to everybody. Give us a like, whatever on YouTube. Give us a like on Facebook. Share it with like-minded people. If you want to come on the show, that's what we're here for. You'll be watching all of us lot from Paranation, Hosts for Ghosts, and of course South Coast Ghosts, Great British Ghost Hunters, and Tim as well. And hopefully we've given you something to think about tonight, something to ask questions about, and maybe open the people's minds up. If not, the main thing is you've enjoyed it, and that's the main thing. So that means a load to us lot here. That's all we're here for, guys.
Absolutely.
But anyway, I'm going to end the stream now. Thanks for joining us, and
Take
hope
care.
to see you next time. Next week, same place, same time, 8 o'clock.